Hello and welcome to a H.P video, and today we're looking at Hello Darkness issue 5. And firstly, I must apologize for the delay in getting this out. My comic store has recently had a few issues, and well, I've had to make decisions to get these. But going forward, hopefully there won't be such delays. So, multiple horror stories. So firstly, the old disclaimer. There could be things in here that are scary, violent, nude, and sweary. I probably won't say the sweary stuff, to be fair. So we've got Jeremy Bastians on the first story, James Tinney in the fourth, Sarah Gailey, Robert Hack, Sarah Anderson, and we obviously have Garth Ennis on the war. So without ado, let's get this. So this first story is basically told in art form, and we have two children exploring the meadows. Always be careful of your butterfly field, because you never know what may happen. So one of the little girls touches something, and it's either pinches her or it's just gross, and she decides to go home. So they run home a little bit upset. She looks at the hand. You know badness is going to happen. She starts dreaming about butterflies. Her friend starts drawing butterflies with her face on it, and so forth and so forth. And gradually over the thing, she eventually becomes some form of incubator for them. So when she jumps, she releases all the little caterpillars come flying out of her face. Her friend is also one, and then basically all these butterflies are released, and then they take over the world. Yeah. Anyway, so it's very well told for pictures, I've got to admit. I always, when I read comic books, people say, well, you're looking at pictures. Actually, usually I'm just reading the story. The pictures, if I take them in, come afterwards. But pictures have always been forms of, we take them in better sometimes than words. So we move on to Something Is Killing the Children. So lots of tall tales in here, as we get tales of a pack of wolves coming in, and they're driven by 5G, and we got kids watching Power Rangers and looking at Wikipedia. It all sounds very conspiracy theories. And but there were no footsteps, and wolves usually leave a trail that hunters know, or hunters can detect them ahead, because that's what they do. So Erica's listening to the story, but it gets worse, much worse, because there is technology, and there is only one technology that could take children into the woods and rip them to shreds. Yeah, that's right, aliens. It ends with aliens, to be continued. So the question is this a conspiracy theory, or is it an actual monster, as Erica believes it is? It would be interesting if it was all a hoax, right? So we move on to Shutter. So the story begins with this couple. This lady's told her girlfriend, I think they're girlfriends, that she loves her, and she didn't respond. And she's trying to get this picture, this one picture, apparently, that is a big deal. And she falls down the cavern. She quickly runs. She gets her picture, and then she's like, hurry, we gotta go. And they're rushing, and it's reefing. I can't even explain this picture. I'll show you when we get back, etc. So they get back, and then she feels a bit ill. She goes to bed, and she thinks she's got COVID, and it's a whole next day. And then she starts saying, oh, I don't want to hurt you. And then they start talking about this picture. She says, when I took the picture, as soon as the shutter closed, it got in me, and I can feel it changing me. And she's like, destroy my camera. Maybe that will reverse what's going on here. And she looks at the picture, and she thinks it's kind of nice, which is cool. And she says, are you only starting to like me because I'm turning into it? and you can sort of see, it sort of reminisces the pictures there. So then she decides, I love you anyway, whatever you look like, whatever you're going to do, and, maybe if I take a picture, you're going to love me too. And she ends up taking a picture, much to the screaming face there, and then, boom, I guess this is the magical thing going into her. It's a bit weird. But I feel like, once again, it's one of those things I feel like you could give me more on this, and I would still read it. Then we got our one-page magics, which I always do adore. He's stuck on this planet, or she's stuck on this planet, I can't really tell. That man of yours is not good, you poison him? Yes, why not? And then, this is, think about car. It's a death trap. But can you imagine the absolute miserably from corporate, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So some of this stuff makes sense. Some of this stuff, I'm like, what on earth is going on? So this story, they start going for walks. They will always tell us about, don't go out there, it's strange. And, one day, her brother was swallowed by the woods. She has been trying to find him since. However, one time when she thought she heard her brother's voice, she started pulling up. And then out of darkness, something crooked was coming for her, and she decided to clip it. So whenever she looks now in the woods, she's looking for bones. And whenever she hears a little voice, she goes the other way. Meanwhile, our nuclear disaster, this was probably the most complicated one of all. So when I think back to that first issue, I was like, what the hell is going on? And, it took me a while, and I'm still not sure that I understand it. So we're in a cabin, the baby's been born, and they sort of tell the story of how they sort of got here. So they've got to a cabin, the baby's not moving, the baby's not taking drink. I'm not even sure the baby is actually alive at all. And he's trying to make decisions. I think that's the point. He's trying to make decisions on how they get to where they're going. So we sort of jump back to the past as well, where they found the person committed suicide. They tried to tape up windows because the air can be contaminated in preparation. And then obviously it happens. And the baby's on the way at the same time. So they had to deliver the baby. They weren't expecting the baby to survive, but the baby has survived. However, it does not make any noise. That sort of tells me that, is she just there going through the motions, and he's just trying to do whatever he can to survive. They've got minimal heat. They've got minimal supplies, so they've got to be careful, in terms of rationing food, etc. We talk about this, it jumps back about their little adventure to get to this point. How, in his mind, he's creating, we're all messaging each other, Luke, Stefan, Spencer, Maggie, Travis, Grace. I mean, we've seen some of those last issue. We've seen some of those things play out as well. He's like, all I could do was watch those messages go forward and backwards. But in reality, they were not. Networks are down. Everything is down. And there was stories of places where you couldn't get in and people were being sent away. And then, there was the survival mode. You told me this, you told me that. Do you even want to be a father? And he's just trying to make sense of this. I think they're both trying to make sense of this tragedy. And then Nikki's looking out the window, and something's coming. Yep, that's right. Soldiers with masks. As we move on into the next stage of this issue. So the war, I absolutely do love. This is my favorite part of the issue. However, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't absorbing it very well. It just felt a little bit complicated. Which is good, because it is a complicated story. And, it's only I feel like if they went through This Is the Journey, I would have understood it better. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, there we go. we have got to the end of another issue. And once again, this is still one of my favorite books to pick up, with all these little stories in them. They're all very, very interesting and enjoyable to read. So anyway, if you like my video, do please support my channel by subscribing. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We appreciate it. Make sure you look after yourself, very important these days. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.